this is
like
pretty
to talk
interesting.
baseball.
Well, hey,
You know,
yeah, we're getting our asses kicked. I want you to, I know that. 7 runs in the first inning. So, who's your team?
I'm a Dodger fan. So.
Okay, yeah, they're all right. They've been around. They're okay.
Yeah. I was more of a fan when we could watch them on TV.
I know. I like boxing like that too. Grew up
yeah.
on my elbows watching fights on TV. So we're just outside the Budweiser stage, the Bud Light stage. I don't know how good this mic is, so I'm going to be moving it up and down.
Oh, no sweat.
And Billy came out for a smoke, and you ran into some people, and that's cool, And JD's joined us. How long has this band been together? How long have you been doing this?
About 10 years.
Okay.
And before that, I was doing solo records and tours, solo. There's still one guy in the band, Ted Andriatis, who's one of the 3 box masters that played in my solo shows and on the records.
Okay.
But the box masters as a band have been together about 10 years.
Okay. And where'd your music come from? I mean, your musical abilities? How did that get started?
We started. We all played when we were little kids.
Yeah.
My first band when I was 10 or 11, and played as a teenager. When I was a teenager in my 20s, a lot of times, I grew up down south, and we would get to open for the national acts that would come through. So, gosh, we opened for Humble Pie, Black Oak, Arkansas, ZZ Top, Hank Williams Jr., all kinds of people. Earl Scruggs Review, Richie Havens.
Oh, sweet.
A bunch of people.
Sweet. And so you always played drums, or what else do you do?
Well, I was a singer in a lot of bands.
Yeah.
Just like in the Box Masters. I played drums in some of them.
Okay.
We always kind of found that sometimes it was just like in Spinal Tap, drummers would explode and stuff. So
can we look forward to that tonight? Is that going to happen?
With Eric, you never know.
Yeah, I know.
You never know.
He might have had too many corn dogs today.
Oh man, yeah. There's a lot of exploding going on around here. And so, JD, what about you? How'd you get started musically?
Same thing. Started, singing in church groups and all that when I was a kid. And we had a really strong music program at my school.
Where was that? Where'd you grow up?
Middle of Kansas.
Okay.
Gypsum, Kansas. And one of the places that we played the other night, my high school music teacher is the technical director of the theater, so we were back. So it was great to see him.
That's very cool.
And all that, and I wanted to make records. I figured. So I learned how to be a recording engineer, and that's how I met Billy to work on one of his solo records. He asked me how well I played guitar one time. I had a band in college and all that. It was horrible. But, always dink around on the guitar. And it's, it's always something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Didn't want to do on my own for sure. So it's always, great to have a band that, you can be a part of.
Right.
Grow and evolve. Do all sorts of different things.
So, who writes the music?
We all do.
Yeah. I mean, is it one of those things where you sit down and do it, or you just come in and say, hey, I got this idea, or listen to this, or what happens?
Usually one or the other of us brings an idea to the other guys, then we flesh it out together. We do it different ways. Usually the songs come pretty quickly. If they don't, if we have to start constructing, they usually don't get finished.
I know that.
So we... usually you can tell if you've got a good song pretty quickly, and so we don't sit and work on them for hours. We generally have a melody idea with some lyrics, either for a verse or a bridge or a chorus already, and then once we get everybody involved, then we finish it up together. And usually it starts with one of us. Somebody's got a melody or something, and or an idea, a concept or something.
What kind of inspirations, did you get for your music? I mean, what'd you grow up listening to and say, yeah, I really like that, I want to play that kind of stuff? Or is it...
Well, I grew up in the era when, I was a little kid, 8 years old, so I guess, or 9, when I saw the Beatles and Ed Sullivan.
Yeah.
So I'm old enough to have seen that. So I was just like every other kid. We saw the Beatles and that was it.
Yeah.
I was a big British Invasion fan, the Kinks and the Animals. Beatles and pretty much everybody that was on Shindig or Hullabaloo or Ed Sullivan, where the action is.
Yeah.
back in those days, we didn't have the social media, and we didn't have as many critics, and the public weren't critics.
Right.
The public usually liked everybody. Now, when I say that, I mean it.
Oh, yeah.
We liked rock and roll. We didn't care who it was. We watched everybody. I liked everybody from Freddie and the Dreamers to the Beatles at the British Invasion.
Yeah.
And in terms of American music, once I heard, it went from rock and roll to rock at 67.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Cream and Traffic and, people like that came along.
It changed,
It changed everything.
Yeah.
I started listening to them. And then when the Allman Brothers came along, that's when I went into a whole new phase. And I listened a lot to Captain Beefheart and Mother's Invention.
Yeah.
I was a big Frank Zappa and the Mothers fan.
Yeah.
But the Allman Brothers Live at Fillmore East is maybe my favorite album of all time.
Yeah.
And, I was actually friends with Jim Marshall, the photographer.
Yeah.
And so Jim gave me the photos. I've got them framed on my wall, the front and back cover
Yeah.
of that,
Yeah.
with the roadies on the back.
Right.
And Jim said, "How the hell did you know?" He goes, "Why do you want the back cover?" I said, "You kidding me? Willie Perkins, Red Dog, Kim Payne, Mike Callahan, Twigs,
Yeah.
and all that." I said, that was my life.
Yeah.
And so then I became, a big fan of all the Southern rock. Marshall Tucker and Wet Willie, and Grinder Switch, all those guys.
Yeah.
And Skinner too. Later on. And then ended up in the 80s, Phil Walden became my manager.
Oh, shit.
For a little while, Phil
Yeah.
was a manager.
Very cool.
He managed me and Jim Varney as actors.
Yeah.
And then Capricorn came back into being, and he had 311 and Widespread and, people like that. So
Did you ever record at Capricorn?
never did. No, I never did record at Capricorn. However, I did record at Widget Sound in Sheffield.
Okay.
And Muscle Shoals.
Right, yeah.
In 74. I
Yeah.
recorded at Ardent in Memphis in 79 or so. And then we, the Boxmasters, we have a song on our new record that we recorded on tour last year at Ardent. Ardent's still going. And,
very cool.
Jody Stevens, the drummer with Big Star, who's a big influence on us.
Yeah.
Jody still runs Ardent, and we were on tour, and we had a day off, and we went in and recorded.
No, we didn't even have a day
it
off.
wasn't a day off.
We had to be finished by sound check for the show at least, so we plowed through as many tracks as we could.
Oh, that's excellent.
Walked down the street to go to the show that we had.
That's right.
I saw Paul Thompson back here. He's a local guy, drummer, guitarist, and so forth. And he and I was in a band with his brothers in 2002, and we recorded at Capricorn. I think we were the last band to record in there, and we had Chuck Lavelle and some other folks come in and play. Kurt produced it.
That's great.
Walk into that studio, I was like, holy shit! It's like walking into the Vatican.
It really is.
It's amazing stuff. So
Yeah, Chuck's a friend of ours.
yeah, Chuck's very cool. Yeah.
It's great.
So, the Boxmasters of the three of you, right? But you got a couple other guys that come along and play with you on tour, or?
Well, we play JD and Teddy Andriadis and myself. We do all the stuff on the records.
Okay.
We're the actual official.
Okay, right.
So we make the records by ourselves, and then
We do have a few outside lead guitar players. We've had Brad Davis, who used to be in the band, comes in and plays on a lot of stuff.
Okay.
We had Kirk, who's our guitar player on this tour. He came in and played on some stuff. John Rothaus, who plays with Nico Case and other folks, he comes in and plays on some stuff. So we have, a few guys that we like to, have play on our records with us.
essentially that means none of us are lead guitar players.
Yeah, I'm getting that. That's all right.
We've got really talented dudes, and it's like we can sit there and, beat ourselves up over, over it. But,
So you guys,
I'd rather just watch these other guys play. It's more
you
fun.
guys have a busy month and a half going on through the end of September, right? Or is it end of? Yeah. And then what's up?
We'll probably go out again, probably in the spring, like the late spring, and then maybe do another summer one. Last year we did 2 tours. This year only 1. But
spring might be an international thing.
Really?
Yeah, there's a possibility.
Where might you go?
There was some talk of Japan.
Yeah.
And we never played over there. But our new label is, they're pretty high on putting a record out over there, so we might.
Do you want to plug it? What's your label?
Oh yeah, it's called NDR, No Download Records.
Okay.
It's a new label, and they don't do downloads. They don't deal with iTunes.
I was thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we.
You guys are such throwbacks.
I know we are throwbacks.
Do a double record and no downloads of it.
Yeah, with vinyl and CDs. Yeah. So,
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, we're kind of like that, but.
I'm so surprised.
But yeah, we're probably going to make another record when we get off of the tour. We're probably going to maybe find a studio somewhere along the way and record another song or two. We like to have at least one song from the road that we put on the record.
Yeah. Hey, now before we got started, I think it was before we got started, you said you hadn't played state fairs for a while or much? Or
The Boxmasters have never played a state fair that I know of, right?
Not that I can remember.
Yeah.
What?
But I have played them a couple of times with a solo band. We did the state fair. Or maybe that's a county fair. It's in Paso Robles, California.
Okay.
We played that one. And at that one, Chris Christopherson came out and did Bobby McGee with us.
It's always nice,
that was
isn't
pretty
it?
cool, yeah.
Who's on the bus now? Anybody? Nothing up your sleeve?
No, but not today.
Yeah. What kind of venues do you play in? What do you like?
Theaters. We play a lot of theaters.
Like Fox Theater type things?
Yeah, like Fox Theater, those type of things.
Yeah.
We play. You've got to do the occasional casino because they pay more.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
But rock and roll clubs. Basically, it's rock and roll clubs and theaters.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? What would you like to do musically? Do you have any, not charted out, but like, maybe next year, Japan, but what do you see 3-4 years down the road?
We have a couple of concept records that we're working on, like The Wall, or Tommy, that kind of thing. And we love that format. So we'd like to find a way to put those out where more than 10 people would buy it. We'd like to get that a little more widespread. So I think that's definitely on the list. And other than that, we know we're never going to sell millions of records. We don't fool ourselves.
Right.
But we have a real good little cult following, and we really do it for them. So there are times when we play for audiences who don't know anything about us.
Yeah.
And there are other times when we play for audiences who are just there to see us because they're part of our following.
Yeah.
And we just do it for them. And in terms of goals, we want to keep touring and keep making records, and that's really it.
Okay. Cool. You have kids or anything like that? Family? What's happening there, you guys?
We're, as we say in the South, we're eat up with kids.
Yeah, today at the, I was excited about the fair because I saw some of those vintage tractors out there.
Yeah,
and my oldest is 4 years old. And I went and took videos of all the vintage tractors that I could find and sent them to him so that he could watch them.
It is Iowa, man.
Yeah. And then I found some, toy tractors in one of the places. Bought a couple of those for him. So my boys are going to have a ton of fun when I get home.
That's excellent.
Dad of the year.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
For 6 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
You feel really guilty, so you overdo it when you find things they like.
Yeah. We're out here a week and a half. We got a bunch of dogs at home. It's like I want to see and that's like 5 miles away. But we try to rough it. How about you? Do you have kids or family? Or?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'm married and have my daughter Bella is going to be 12 in September, and my boys are 22 and 23, so they got their own apartments and their own jobs and stuff like that. So they're once your kids get to that age, they're more like your buddies. We hang out like pals. One is in the security business, and the other one is a special effects makeup artist. He builds zombies and goblins and vampires and all that stuff.
Shit. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's cool. And what's your daughter up to? My granddaughter just turned 12, so I got a hunch what that's like,
She's amazing. She's just like, as I say, the apple of my eye. And wants to be a scientist. She wants to be an entomologist, and she's interested in paleontology. She's way smarter than I could ever dream of being, so it's kind of embarrassing when she...
Nice that evolution works, you know?
Oh,
That's
no,
good.
it really is, yeah. Well, I always tell people she had to have gotten her intelligence from her mother.
Well, you swim in somebody else's gene pool. It works out all right
That's
sometimes,
right.
you know?
Exactly.
Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. Thanks. I
thank
appreciate
you.
the hell out of it. Oh, and what? So, I should, you know, what haven't I covered? Because God knows I'm no good at this, you know. And I've just
You
been
seem
talking.
very good at it, to tell you the truth. This is a better interview than a lot of the big time interviews we do, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Well, I won't ask for names, but thank you. I appreciate that because the other cohorts at the Wild West Corral, they'll be happy to hear that because they think I'm full of shit, right?
Well, you tell them we don't think you're full of shit.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to maybe do the